Good morning, Namaskar, good morning everybody. This is Engineer Suraj Singh speaking from Bharat, India on this day, June 12, 2021, Saturday. Continuation of talks regarding professional issues in engineering applicable to everyone, citizen of this country as well as other countries. Title of talk is very simple, and that is Civil Field Engineering, engineer's role on engineering if we compare it to COVID-19. If we include that, how it can affect engineers, how it can affect engineering and life, because engineering is not only professional, it is social as well. There is designs, relations, its construction, methods, contracts, communication, quality, organization, etc. Whatever you can say, miscellaneous or direct issues are involved. Because of this, we all trust in certificates, and it must be because certificates tell something about a person. Certificates tell something about capacity of a person, expertise of a person. These tell so much. Somebody is graduate, somebody is postgraduate, somebody is doctorate, somebody is postdoctorate. These are all competencies which amount a lot in life of a person as well as in performance of a person, in profession or otherwise. Life of a person is personal. Well, I'm not going to say anything about that. Everybody has aim, everybody has objective, and everybody is different. I'm not going to tell something about that, because that is completely different. How a person lives, how a person behaves, it's up to that person to deal with. I am talking about generality of a person that applies to others. Professional generality, work generality, performance generality, interactive generality, where people are involved with that person. There are different classes of persons in every society. We can say professionals are considered like very important people for general people. Doctor, engineer, advocate, chartered accountant, professor, medicos, others who are mandated to be qualified, particularly qualified for performance of respective activities. They cannot otherwise work on those activities. That is very important part we have to consider. Everybody has certain expected standards of performance. Everyone, every field, that field demands something, not for field but for people of that country or whole world. But if they realize value of time, value of cost, value of quality, if they don't realize this, I can say in that way, profession doesn't work. Whatever profession you take, whatever profession, engineering, medical, law, teaching, science, where skill is required, intelligence is required, that profession, that highly advanced knowledge based occupation If I cannot perform, then I should question myself. Why should somebody else question? Why I claim that I am having this competency? If I claim, then that's fake. Either I don't have that competency, or I just do not want to do not want to do it. But I say I am professional. Professional itself, profession meaning itself says that you have to go to advanced level, highly advanced level, two advanced levels. We want to be professional. It's not simply money that you do something in exchange of money. As some people think that that's profession. No, that's not profession. Profession is that you have to know as much as you know and apply that, irrespective of what money you get. Money is just a consideration, that's not final criteria. Quality of a person is measured in terms of what field is that, other one, what is commitment of that person in that field, and what is performance of that person. Does this person deliver performance or goods or whatever work, design work, practical work, treatment of patients, in whatever way you can say, that person must be involved with. But is that person involved? That's a question of monitoring. But who shall monitor? I would say one should monitor self. When something moves on self-studies, self-world, self-teaching, you do something self, that is much more important than if you are asked to do something. Self-service we call self-service, and we are proud of that. See, we have self-service here. Okay, that's self-service. But question is, are you delivering what you are supposed to deliver? Position is one part of life. If position you have, you must respect that position, because that position is not given to you because of you alone, because other people who gave to you that, they expect something. It's not only your pleasure that you want to stay in that position, it's pleasure of others also who could bring you to that position. I think that's very important part, that you have to be responsible to others. Even if you don't have public position, other position too, private positions too, public positions, every position, wherever you are, that position gives you certain responsibility, minimum responsibility, and you can do much more than that responsibility if you are really honest, or you want to move further. You want to contribute to society, and ultimately you want to contribute to your nation, the whole world. Development doesn't stick to one nation. If you are involved in development directly or indirectly, and you devote yourself to that in terms of your assignments or in terms of your business or whatever you can say you do with that, even if you are a very small occupant of job, maybe you are an artisan, you are skilled, or you may be leader, or you may be honor. Ultimately, wherever you are, in whatever level you are, you have certain obligations. Those obligations you have to fulfill. In addition to that, you have to measure yourself and do as much more as possible. Every time we cannot delineate that this is my line, I don't want to move further. That is completely wrong, because this is your line because you accepted that and somebody appointed you for that. But it doesn't mean you cannot move further if you are responsible. See, quality of being responsible, you may say it's a factor, it's a requirement, obligation, accountability, liability, and your performance based on all these. If you are liable, you are accountable, your performance should speak that. If you are committed, you are dedicated, Now, performance should speak that you can't measure everything in terms of package, what package I am getting, or what profit margin I am getting. You mean everything cannot be measured in terms of one unit. It depends on what's value of your work, how much, to what extent your work measures, it benefits whole society. That is one very important part. Why I am saying all this? Reason is that I want to define quality in different way. It's not simply your work that is quality work, your conduct towards society, your conduct toward people, your conduct to your own job, your conduct to your organization, all play a role. Social responsibility conduct is very important. Means social security, etc. We say that too is a part of what level quality exists. Just like everybody wants to be protected from security, from attacks, from unknown. Everybody wants to be protected through national security, other security, private security, and financial security, work security, like that, let's say. So everywhere some element is hidden, which everybody at every age cannot understand, and particular to those who are in lead position, whoever. When I say lead position, it doesn't mean small lead, this means overall lead. If you are in a lead position, wherever you work, you have added responsibility that you are responsible for that lead, you are responsible for others, you are responsible for that work you do, and ultimately you have to be accountable and you have to be liable. It's not in terms of money only, it's in terms of various losses that can be imported if you don't care about that. Care of work is very important, because I am talking of engineering, that is civil, in which mistakes are permanent. Generally, if permanent mistakes means permanent losses. What I say, I want just to redefine and define and redefine and define. What do I have in mind about quality, which your mind can tell you. It's not necessary you go to some seminar to learn that. You can go to seminar, but your seminar exists inside based on your experience. How much you have advanced in your question. That seminar, because every day you work and you make mistakes, I make mistakes, then we improve that, we correct that mistake, and we learn that I made mistake because of this reason. You find reason yourself. Nobody will tell you what reason is, because you know reason. So it happens once, it happens twice. There are reasons for everything, for every error, for everything. There are certain reasons you can give. But giving reason is not adequate, it's not enough. You have to eliminate that error forever, so that that mistake doesn't happen again and again. And it happens again and again, say, in that case there is something wrong in your personality, or somewhere something is wrong. If you are not doing that job directly, somebody else is doing, this means you are not able to lead that person. You are having certain defects in your leadership. Those defects must be picked out, understood why defect is there, analyze that defect. Why this defect coming every time when I take care? Either you have some lack of knowledge, or that the procedure which you defined is not completely, you can say, reliable. So when I say quality required everywhere, there is no challenge to that. There is no challenge you can do. Quality is required everywhere. For whole items you consume in your life, whatever items, whatever food, whatever other elements you consume, articles you consume in your life, all say something. all speak something, and we have to listen to them. You have to listen to them. There's no other way. Just like you have to listen and question to yourself. When you used to listen to your professors in university and question to them, you had to question. It means if you could understand, you can raise questions. And if you can't understand, there's no meaning that you raise questions. Already you have been told something, again you are asking that. This means that's negligence. There is ignorance, and this means you are not in angle of quality. You are just busy without quality element. That should not happen in profession, because in profession we spend, out of 24 hours, I think it is 6 hours for sleep or 7 hours for sleep. Out of 17 hours we spend most of our time on our job. Hardly few hours we spend at home, if you have really, or you spend remaining time in your job. So you can say that way, that job is your major home as an individual, not as family. Yes, your family is there in job, that is public family. That's whoever are involved in that you work with. That can be, say, your professional family, and those who have stakeholders who are including everyone, that's also your family. But that family is of course not personal, but there's contractual family, or you can say some other kind of family for which you want to do something. So we have to first understand everyone. To understand quality, you have to understand actions by people. You have to understand mentality of public. You have to understand what our people think, what we think, what is way to do job in best possible manner, with same cost, same time criteria, so that it benefits people. That thought, that profile of thinking, we have to develop. If we do not change structurally our mindset, I am sure we can never think of quality or thinking of for anything. I am very much sure that thinking is only formula that applies to everyone. Thinking changes your life. What do you think about something? Sometimes because of no thinking, you cannot do mathematics. You cannot solve any problem because you have kept off mathematics. I can say life is a mathematics. Life is also mathematics. It's not simply qualification. It's not simply compliance. It's not simply that. I am particularly interested in can say explanation of civil engineering, because I have noticed, and it's not simply notification, it's observed, it's evident that civil engineering is, you can say, gigantic, divergent, professional field which does everything. Of course, it takes time, but it does everything. If you have controls of budget, if you have technology, or you develop technology, and you have those people skilled and semi-skilled with you, it changes scenario. Job of civil engineering, I can say, has many levels. Not levels which are described for designations, but different levels of thinking. We should remember, particularly civil engineers, that we are natural engineers, natural born engineers. Reason is there, because we deal with all natural materials. We deal with all natural agencies. You got my point? Your materials that you use are all natural. Some people call them raw form. I don't call raw form, but natural form. You can take whatever material and see what is that. Particularly concrete and mortar we generally use for production various ingredients into that, and all are natural except some chemical compounds, or you can say some cementitious material, cement material, which are manufactured one, but in those also contents are ultimately natural, lime, silt, etc. And same way steel we use, which is also natural but cycled on the different varieties. So natural materials we use mostly as far as structure is concerned, and also we use agencies, natural agencies. All agencies we use in civil: sunlight, water, air, either, and you can say, of course, it's cost based, but it's time based as well. I can learn civil engineering from nature. I can learn from God's designs. It's not difficult. It can be, because without nature we cannot move. Nature gives us power to move. When I'm sitting here, it's nature that's helping me. I'm not able to do anything if nature doesn't support me. I'm not called civil engineer if there is no sand, there is no water, there is no rock, or there is no lime, silica, silt. I can't call myself civil engineer because I have no basis. If I am civil engineer means I am lucky, to be very frank. I am fortunate that I could help this world to some extent develop because of my contribution of energy, of my skill to whatever you can say level, small or big. And I can say yes, with my efforts, with God's blessings, I could do this project. There may be errors in project, that is different. But we say with pride, I worked in this project, in this position or in that position. I worked as a designer, I can say. I worked as constructor. I worked as a contractor. I worked as supervisor or consultant. Like that, you feel happy though you don't get anything after that once you do project. It's not your project, you are just service provider. But whoever is owner, that person benefits, and whoever is end user, that person benefits. Well, I think it's enough. If enough, because ultimately it's public that's benefiting in terms of ownership or in terms of user. All benefit. Poor benefit, rich benefit, middle benefit, all benefit. It's everywhere, from housing to commerce, from defense to non-defense to agriculture. Everywhere you can say. And I can simply state that quality is representative everywhere. Even if you value it or don't value it, if you control it, don't control it. If you don't control it, it will be bad quality. Simply, we'll say this item is bad quality production. Quality is still there, but negative, bad quality. If we say no, it is having very good quality standard. Okay, it's having very good quality standard, so prove it. Who will prove it? It is that service or that material which you are buying or using. It shall be proved by that element. What sort of service it is? It's not simply yes, 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 or no, no, no. You have to screen out everything. You have to see results, you have to see procedures, how it was done. Was it satisfactory or it was not satisfactory? At every stage you have to see. Stages can be erroneous, corrections can be applied, but we should study that. We cannot simply close eyes and say, okay, if somebody has certified, it's okay, fine. Somebody has certified, that is formality, but everybody has to know what was done, how it was done, how better it could be done, or how could we produce lesser errors than these are produced. Means some lacuna exists somewhere, and that lacuna has to go. How to discover that lacuna? And if you say yes, we can discuss that, we can find out, because we planned it, we did this or we do this, and then we find some errors. You have to check them and correct them. If it is possible to reapply it on that, it can be reapplied, or else you can say next time we will take care of that. Such points can be considered next time. But next time doesn't mean next to next to next to next. No. That is what lessons learned are. If we make same mistake again and again, and we have no control on that, I think we don't do our job. To be very frank. One time mistake is acceptable. It can be corrected. Second time there is no, we don't need this mistake. We don't want this mistake. No future if no quality. No future. Not only future, current time also. No time. No present if no quality. And engineers realize this fact. I don't say no. That I know that much about engineers that they will never say do bad quality work. Maybe some elements are everywhere. Means they don't bother quality because they don't know quality. They are only interested in their survival, not in public survival. They forget whatever work they are doing is for public. It's not for some person or some government. Even if it's for government, it means ultimately it's for public. So we have to help our people by giving good quality, economical work, economical cost. Cost is a very important factor, and that we have to. It can't change. Cost can't change frequently. It has to be paid. Yes, it gets more expensive, more costly due to many reasons. Though those reasons are various, we can define some other time. But here is cost of quality, and quality means a kind of, you may say, a kind of art, a kind of science that tells us with proven records, with proven documentation, that this is best for you and best for other one. No quality means no work. If you want to really achieve something, and they have achieved in past, many successful engineers have done a lot in those days when there was no computers, because computer is not a guarantee of development. Computer is only a tool, just like our mind is a tool. Mind doesn't guarantee something, but mind does everything. Got it? Mind cannot guarantee anything, but it does everything. That is important point, that we respect mind to that way. This means mind is in your hands. It is in your hands. If you want to say, okay, let it go as it is, or no, I have to see it again and again, that's a difference. Let it go as it is just surrender or compromise. But no, I have to see it myself, how it happens, how it performs. That's another point. So no future if no quality, no present if no quality. Engineers must realize quality facts. In particular, civil engineers have to change quality aspects, or else quality cannot exist. We are always bound by systems. We are bound by individual quality of professionals. and we are also forced to amend its quality for reliability. These are various forces which don't use guns, but these people use your caliber. Caliber is used. That's a different point. So I cannot stick all time to one talk about. The important point in engineering is design. Again and again I stress that. Civil engineering is actually a field of designs also. All public works designs. Even if these other disciplines, there too you will find structure element for you. Because once a structure is erected or laid, it's very expensive to change that. Yes, there are some changes done. I cannot say no, but in generality, you cannot change. If you want to change, you have to spend money, and that money is very much amount. So you will feel, okay, let me get 6 months more, 1 year more for this activity, for this round, and later on I'll see this. Design of a structure is very important. First of all, where this structure is going to be installed, either report should tell, or we can go to excavation and see. If you understand total, what's expansion, what's expensive, what is cross, and what is your faith. Design of structures and others must be qualitative and reliable. Means, okay, it's designer's responsibility, that's true, but implementation is not designer's responsibility. That is also very important one, because designs keep you thoughtful, you'll be very happy if you do it right. And if you don't do it right, it's very much problematic. Very much problematic. There are various stages in designs. Of course, it's up to you to define. But it's not design alone that is sufficient. It's not design alone. It is construction also, it's part of design, because design means construction, and construction means how it is, what level of design you got. If you got elaborative design, coordinated design, if you are best person, lucky person, you will feel doing that job without any problems. If that designer knows what's the requirement. It's not simply construction, but it should be ease of construction as well. If I'm a designer, I have designed with full knowledge, I have designed compliance of all codes, there's nothing left I didn't relate to this, apply to that. That's great. That's great that you are master of your job. But that must also make mistake. I'm not talking here mistakes or no mistakes. What I'm talking is that construction is related to designs, and designs are done for construction. It may be architectural design, structural design, services design, all deal with construction. And without construction, well, I think design is meaningless. But even then, meaningless or no meaningless, we have to learn to contemplate about why it was done like that. You may be having many records if you dealt in this field. I have many such friends who must have certain records, because people keep records for future, not because of proof, but because of learning. But I have learned this much, and you can pass into others if there are others. My always target is that you are not alone. Even if it is small project, you are not alone. You are having many people who whose work depends on your instruction to them. Instruction means sequence of work that must be followed, and we have to follow that in that sequence only. But that sequence can be changed if it's permissible. I mean, it's not necessary what sequence I give, same sequence somebody else should give. There are various factors for that. But one point should be very uniformly applied, that is how your fingers, how your writings move. You are free mind or you are worried, you have conception or you are having past undue filled up in your mind which doesn't come out, doesn't go away. So for that purpose we can say that whatever work we do, small or big, there should be some order. There should be some order in a sense, order of writing, order of follow-up, how to do that. So many order or statement you can say in each activity must be done. You can reduce some explanation because I already explained to them through some of the writings. So you can refer that. That is easy not to copy again and again. For me, construction has been a kind of progressive way to do something better and to communicate in a better manner. First, communication starts from our office, then communication starts from head office. Means everybody is interested work should be finished in as early time as possible. But can it be finished? That's another point to be seen. Now I am having some debating with Ek and Akpal, and we are not living in same area. I can see them. There are different areas for those locations. I can say that for engineers, this is one way. Whatever you do, keep writing for you, and then have relook on the premise if you can see some difference. We should not worry about defects if we can check them. We should not worry about defects if we can check them. We can say we can improve them. We should not worry about that. If it is amendable, you can amend it. But it should be rare. Every time same food comes to you, there's no change. You'll certainly not like it. So what I say, just like you don't like food because of some quality is missing, taste is missing, what you wanted, what you thought of, I like to eat that much. It's delicious or non-delicious, having spices or no spices. You have different approach, and that approach also impacts on construction. Because there are some people who like all this, some people don't like that. So my saying is that when we do engineering work, we have to be cost conscious, we have to be time conscious, and we have to be approach conscious. What do you want? That should be clear. And there is no routine in engineering. You have to make your routine. There are so many activities done in construction field which are very important for everyone. What's done on site, that's one important part, but not every part. When I say how to take care of activities, then you can see there are so many ways to do some act. How to excavate is a very important part of engineering. How to excavate some area until this marking is done. And yes, you take this. I say there are so many items in every work, and I'm sure you shall agree with that. There's no dispute in this. So many items, so many works, so many buildings, so many structures. But we are talking here very brief about those items because those are generally everywhere. There was a list I prepared, and you have seen that list. Again, I'm just showing you what is that. Setting out an excavation, hand excavation, formation, blinding, concrete protection, foundation footings, stuck columns, backfill, RCC columns, walls, and you can say longitudinal walls, suspended slabs, pedestal footings, other footings. Then checklists, various checklists for works and for ports, checklist for DC generator and DC generator and a little box for a shop. Once you also defect your job, that's also not good. There are so many activities apply on structures, on all structures, not only buildings. And we have to learn about them, something more. Maybe text-wise, theoretically, or drawing-wise. How drawing is done, it must be made clear. Your knowledge is not limited. Knowledge always keeps on increasing. Heights are important. I have gone through these activities many times. It happens. I thought to write some activities additionally and post them. It was for, you can say, light pole foundation. Other one was for your manhole chambers, and also some talk on quality requirements. Light pole, or you may say manhole, these are all prefabricated units. And then I also stressed on fast construction based on hollow core slab. That's also precast item. So in these precast items, manholes, slab, and double tops. When I say many activities, like for example, I just give you an example, there are many others. Light poles. There have been instances that these poles fell during some adverse weather conditions when these could not stand fall. Work has to be done in a spirit, letters and spirit. We say whatever we do should be in letter and spirits of what is written. Sometimes, I talked of suspended slab, all that. It's very important part. Sometime we talked of heavy compressor foundations and their columns and tabletop. We talked of I'm showing you all this because I have done written work on this for better understanding, because sometimes what I want to say, your words don't support. Tabletop we talked of long item, tabletop, swimming pool we talked of. We talked of firing range as well, which is very army-based work for soldiers. This is also very important element in our security. These items which we discussed are very, very significant for reference. We went to light poles, which has, of course, recently explained, but sometimes we have to explain in thoughts. Everything cannot be given in writing, but complex is not that serious. In an ordinary way to understand that, what is light pole, first of all? It's a street lighting I'm not talking something else. It's street lighting or lighting on roads, or very different kinds of lighting. What we have to see here is that whatever work we do, we have to be very careful of that. Whatever work we do, it may be small work or big work, RCC work or structuralist work, we have to be very careful about sequence of activities that we have to follow. If sequence is disturbed, means quality shall disturb. You should not be held up. You should not be doing any haphazard trial method. We have to be very optimistic about our professional approach. We have to use our stamina, our skill, our experience everywhere. Even this light pole foundation, it's some steps, or it may be some, manhole prefabrication or some other item that can be prefabricated numbers, lot numbers. They have to be very much concentrated on that. For example, let us take light pole, which is maybe a pole is 8 meters, 12 meters or more, depending on requirement and depending on wind in that location they are still installed. We are saying light pole foundation is prefabricated. Yes, it is. It's generally done because it's first of all small item. We have to prefabricate it somewhere, and then we have to use transportation trailer for, if successful, traveling to implementation. We have to make a conception of how to do this work. It's a very important part. If you can chart out this best way, you should follow it. It's not simple alone. It's very, very important that we have to do. We have to reach to that level where we can say, this is our approach. This is our policy, and that policy must be adhered to. That policy should be proven one after doing much work on that, and if that doesn't work, we should change our policy. Give it some time. So, so I was doing talking of how to do that job which is very important to do. There are various jobs that we care for, and this is also a small job, but it's also important. Small job very very important. We had to. So though I written it, I'm just speaking, not speaking line by line. But that's for you. I'm speaking because sometimes speaking gives you sense of thinking also. What I speak for this case of light poles, it's very small item, but it's very important for for people to see things at night. Foundation is not very big. In fact, we, if we compare our status here, our foundations are not that powerful as is done international status. We just put some concrete and we do erect. I've seen certain such foundations here in my area. Some light poles were erected, but there is no control. There was no control at all. I don't want to name company because no meaning. I know right to say if those engineers who accept such works, they are engineers. That's why they accept such works, such logicless, qualityless works they accept. So that's beyond my control. But when I pass over there, I see, though it's not very big job, there's a project of you can say sewer line. I'm sorry, it's not sewer line. This rainwater collection, and then collection of that rainwater, and then of course treatment of that. On the other side, there is light poles, street light poles erection. But why no controls? Just excavate something and put in foundation without any level, without any plumb. It's clearly seen by naked eyes that there is no requirement of inequality, and they are not going to save anything. It's true. They don't save any cost, but even then, I don't understand reason why quality is not considered. Quality doesn't mean only plumb and location. It means so much. You are going to use concrete element in foundation. There should be concrete quality. Okay. There should be some level in excavation. There should be some blinding level, something. At least it should be seen that some professional has worked there. Some professional team has worked it. It doesn't indicate that. And I don't understand why some even light poles are not even vertical, in some cases inclined to some extent depending on foundation. And sometimes what happens, even after insertion of foundation into that pit, it's rained and it's tilted, and nobody bothers about that. They put out some soils or something and bring it to level, and that's it. I'm really, sometimes I feel ashamed of myself because I am from that community. They are. We are all civil engineering community. Electrical person won't bother about this because job of electrical person is just to erect that pole on that foundation boards, and after that connect it, puts light fixtures on that. That's job of electrical man. That electrical man is part of it is horizontal, whatever it is. He has a cable length coming in, and that puts into that duct and goes off. But why is that? Why should electrical, when you are not worried, why should electrical person worry? Then that's point. His job is to give you light, and is give you light, and your job is support that light. You're not supporting that correctly. It's very small item, believe me. That's the reason I took into this. If you cannot comply with quality system with a small item, how can you expect quality in big palaces, big buildings, big oil projects? How can you expect that quality? So if you can't produce quality in small drain, you can't expect quality. You can't give quality in that. I'm not talking of layout or setting out. I'm talking of concrete formwork, steel fixing. You can see all steel is rusted and nobody bothers about that, just fixing, not even thinking of that, how to remove that rust. And nobody cares, no project manager, no construction manager, no site engineer, no one cares about that. And they should not care, because why should they care? What they are losing? Point is that what a project manager is going to lose personally, and what construction manager shall lose personally, and of course crew shall not lose anything. They shall go away after doing that job and let job suffer. Nobody bothers. And it's not only that job. I have seen many buildings. Same means a kind of abusive professionalism. I can say it's a kind of abusive professionalism when we don't worry about anything. And I think that's weakness in this country. It's not one place or two places. I'm telling, I have seen many such locations where quality doesn't mean anything. Only quantity is important. And if they deliver quantity, they are successful, they say. They can claim their bills, their valuations, and that's their destiny. I should get my money, that's all. So whose responsibility is that? I don't know really whose responsibility is that. There must be some contract. Of course, without contract nothing can move. But who reads that contract? That's another point. I don't know. Is there one engineer in this country who reads contract, who studies contract? Because contract, this thing is not their job. Really ridiculous. It's really. A structural engineer says, I'm structurally responsible. A planner says, I'm planning wise responsible. Everybody is responsible to specialty, but no one is responsible for real baby, whose baby it is. That's weakness here. It's not my baby, it's your baby, and it's not my baby. My baby is that, I'm responsible for that. So there are so many babies or sub-babies in every project. So why baby should be responsible? Yeah, that's the point. Why should baby be responsible? No responsibility means best project, and no defects means best project. If there is no inspection, there is no investigation. Even if you report, means why you report? I reported such quality photos, bad quality photos to some smart city limited here, particularly in my area, Faridabad, long back, I think 2 years back, more than 2 years back. There was no COVID at that time. In COVID time, they will give many excuses. That doesn't stand, but they will give. I sent photos to them, put on their website, Facebook I mean. These photos were there for a few days when I just one day wrote, what response is yours? Next day I did not find those photos there. Great achievement. Rather than improving quality or removing defects, it's better remove complaint. I think it's the best one. Because you remove a person who is sick, and that's solution. That is what is done here. Some people may not agree with me. It doesn't matter. I don't want your agreement. Because facts cannot be denied. When you speak facts, people don't like it. That's also truth. If you speak facts, if you criticize someone, there are many people in this country who are just pro something. They don't care for facts, they care for some person. There are some people, crores of people in this country, crores and many institutions as well, who have been behind certain person. I don't know reason for that. They have their mandate, they have their assignment, they don't worry about that. But they were politically they worry something about that. Leave aside, I don't care for that. So I'm just giving you an example of this pole, electric pole, which is, I think, in engineering, very small item. You may say smallest structural item, not biggest one. It's much lower level than a column or a foundation. It's very small foundation, hardly 1 meter by 1 meter, or some more 1.2 meter by 1.2 meter and 1 meter. It's not very complicated one. Steel reinforcement is not very complicated one. It is nothing in the except one duct, PVC duct, for purpose of taking inserts or wires, cables from running cable. and there's a pole erected on bolts grouted to this or fixed to this foundation, and then there are light fittings above. Civil wise, it's only very small item. I think if they do even at site, they won't do like that. In factory, it must be best controlled, but it's not controlled at all. I think they do just ordinary way in factory or yard. So I don't want to involve in criticism, because even if I criticize, there's no meaning to that. Nobody will listen, nobody will read, nobody will do anything. No. So I'm not saying they are bad. What I'm saying is why I should say for some particular project or particular contractor, I should say whole system is like that. Whole system. That's the reason people don't bother about quality. If you talk of quality, people laugh sometimes. They enjoy what nonsense is talking. He understands quality, we don't understand quality. He boasts always about that. They talk. Means, and of course, young generation, young engineers, maybe who were born somewhere in 90s, they least bother about anything. I can say those are computer babies, I should say. Those who are now 20s and 30s, I can call them computer babies. Computer solves. They can't move without mobile, they can't move without computers, and they think computers, they respire computers, they eat computers, they drink computers. I think so, nothing else. So when you depend on computers, this means you don't depend upon your mind. If you depend on computer, you don't depend upon your mind, and if you don't depend on your mind, means you don't depend upon yourself. That point is very much important here, that you don't depend upon yourself, you depend on someone, and you play that. In this I said precasting of foundation is your workshop, or you may say yard, or you may say your precasting factory from where you get it. It should be organized, it should have all systems. Of course, it is not very light material, you have to handle it. Just 4 sides are required for casting. Some steel is required, 1 bolt is required, bolt plate, and 1 insert is required, nothing more than that. I think you cannot say this is full engineering, but for casting purpose, this is required. Even if no pre-stitching is required in that, no need. Because this is not structural item. This is just handling stitches you have to face, you have to see. Those handling stitches also not very much, because let's say 1 cubic meter of concrete maximum, or 1.5 cubic meter maximum, depending on what height it is, keeping in consideration various factors. We can say, because it's electrical item, we can say that 1 meter cube to 1.5 meter cube, or in rare cases maybe 2 meter cube. Maybe I have seen even bigger for sports complexes. But for this you don't need, for 1 cubic meter is for 2.5 tons or 4 tons handling of item. Just handling you require only while you offload this item, this precast item to trailer, and you offload. So it's not very big weight. It's ordinary item. Means you have to lift it where it's precast to. The trailer itself is there. I think just maybe a gap of 2, 3, 4, 5 meters. You just hang it and put there. There's nothing, I think, no risk that your crane boom may fall. No, it's not that. And of course, then you can say, when you offload, same, you just offload near direct to prepared base, that is prepared blinding base applied with protection, and it will also be not very risky to offload its position. Of course, during offloading itself, you have to make sure that this goes to marked within the marking lines, and you have to label it. If it's not labeled, it must be labeled. If say something error, you can see why label is not coming up, and if some grinding is required, that can be checked before transporting this. You can check by grinding or something so that heavy surface labeled. But who does here? Nobody does here. That's the problem. Nobody does here. If you talk of labeling, they will laugh. What fabric is talking? You have put this foundation in, it's standing. That's it. They forget that this is not cast in situ. This is cast in factory. There it was labeled, but it should be labeled on your blinding also, which is not labeled. So you have to bring your blinding to label first. So that's the main point. Then once it is done, of course, it's over. The game is over. You have just to prepare its protection if it is required and protect cover on this protection cover itself. And after that, whatever approval is required, you have to pass that approval. That approval is done, and now this is ready. We can say this item is over, and we can start backfill in that portion. So after that, other activities come up which are not scope but electrical wiring, fixing of installation of electric pole and lights on them, which are sequential activities. I'm just referring to you so that you know what I'm talking of. So that we have written here, if you say statement, light poles are required at sites of streets, roadways, as well as in sports stadiums. Work requires to be done at proposed locations after precasting finishes at factory yard. Therefore, this item has to be produced in following major activities instances. At precasting yard for purpose of its required RC work activities involved are fabrication of reinforcing bars, fabrication of formworks and necessary supports, placing previous electrical duct inserts in form of long band, loading and offloading steel studs, fixing anchor bolts, plates, fixing concrete spacers, covers, pouring to required levels, curing, striking forms, clearing and transportation. After curing is completed and at site it is setting out coordinates, excavation of foundation pit, preparation and laying blinding concrete, application of waterproofing of concrete, soil protection and its protection if required. Transportation to be conducted employing required suitable you can say transportation to be conducted employing required suitable IHP trailer, means indicative horsepower that required for so many. You can suppose you are transporting 10 such you can say poles, foundations. One is having say 3 tons or 4 tons, so you need 40 tons. Like absolutely, that's another point. Transportation, site location, offloading and placing a site prepared location of formation. For a site location, application of vertical soil protection. Once you install it, once you place it on area, and application of vertical soil protection of waterproofing and required protection if required, approval of installation by competent authority and backfill in layers to required levels, and that making good surrounding areas are affected by all these activities, erection of light poles. So this is basics of that item. Then I go to much important item. This electric pole, I think I had shown you, I remember. If not, I will try to show you. That's also important, so that you should not stay in dark. That I think everything should be clear in profession. I like to find out if I have that. Light pole foundations. Let me see if I can open it. Yeah, I got it. So it's a, I'll just, I got reverse, goes reverse, So this is very simple foundation. You can see yourself smart. This is plan of this foundation. Bold some notion. Here you can see it's there. Plan is typical one, and this is section of this. That is RC foundation. That is then depth is 1400 mm. It's 1.2 into 1.2. There's a PVC duct inside for electrical wiring from ground, below ground cable to taken up to light pole. There's a blinding below. So it's called preferably precast, can be cast in situ. Also, heavier foundation compute transport and handling weight, you can say. Well, it's very ordinary sketch I just prepared for you. You can, yes, I've not shown only two bolts or two high-speed bases, handles that shall be used to lift it. Otherwise, it's very normal foundation. And also, if I say another one, which I'm going to talk now, that is especially unsure. Generally course, chapter sketches. Sketches, and this is also. Let me just sketches this. Let me see which sketches this. That is manhole, yes, that's manhole, and other one is. Okay, it's okay, fine. So one is there, which I will discuss with you. This is, and this is here light pole foundation. You have seen this. Then I am showing you very simple manhole. Manhole doesn't mean sewerage manhole, which we think so. There are many types of chambers, manholes. In utilities, we call manhole because entry of person is allowed from that, through that cover. Manhole cover, in fact, it is called. Manhole doesn't mean sewerage is here in our country for public. The manholes are installed in that for going down an inspection, but that's not for civil alone. It's for many services, drainage, storm water, acid water, you may say so many other besides chemical water, acid water, or catch basins, or you may say open drains, ditches you call it. So many times. And in every such system, lines, drainage line, sewer line, or such other services as I mentioned, all system, you can say, is collected at some point. So I'll now say what is manhole actually. Let us say what is manhole. I explained to you yesterday also this. Maybe you remember that. I just say repetition for further clarification that there's one plan It is showing inlet and exit, inlet and outlet pipes. There are elevations of each one. It's showing box outs, block outs to be fixed in for various pipes. Various pipes, you can see these are done, and then where steps come in, and these block outs are filled with installation, filled with grouting pipes. So if you see cover of this, you will find a cover of this, which is also very known to everyone. Cover is known to everybody, and cover means precast cover, which can be placed on site as well, or it can be cast on site also. If you can cast on site, you can cast on site. It's not big issue, small shuttering, only small sides, reinforcement, and manhole cover with that. It has just one specific as a lug, lug details, which is 16 dia lug, lifting lug arrangement for manholes, lifting lugs typical, and 1600 1000 size is given, or we can find out. Then say then this is shown in two directions, plan and elevations, or section you may say. It's nothing very important, but interesting one. Manhole cover slab showing lifting lugs. Preferably precast, can be cast in situ. Also heavier foundation compute transport and handling, weight, crane safety. So my dear, this is a sketch of cover. It's not very complicated, it's easy, and you can understand it very well. Its thickness is 250 mm. This is typical, means doesn't matter if you have that one, because it's heavy duty manhole and shall be placed in straight or on service roads, below service roads. So it's stronger than ordinary one. If it's not on street, then we have to think otherwise. So that is phenomenon of this. So what we have to do in this case, if you see that, what is statement of this says, method statement of this says, It says that these are required on all mega projects. These manholes, all projects, even in housing, it's not mega project, but it's required. It's required in any complex which is not mega project. But there are a number of limitations there. On those projects, there will be hardly, sewer line, or you may say septic sewer line, or there is, nowadays there's no major issue of rainwater because much is collected for harvesting. But when you see industrial projects are very significant for economy. Even if it's not directly involved, it may be some effect on economy. On those industrial projects, so many utilities are used, utilities are constructed. Well, I think sometimes it's even difficult to understand drawings. Sometimes. Because many services are shown on the same drawing. But that is true. You can't avoid that. But study becomes tedious. I'm just taking. That study is very important to be conducted, but it requires concentration because there are so many services shown in one drawing, or so many drawings are available for different services. So you can say coordination becomes very important issue in those services. Even if they are same drawing or they are shown in different drawings, we have to coordinate both. Because electrical services, fire services, your chemical services, drainage sewer and other services and localized services all come into picture, and clashes would be of course there because designer won't go much details. It's okay, leave it aside, let them care of this. Depends on because there will be so many piping around and more piping in future for machines for local use that even designer may not know. Even a designer may not know at that time. So what should be done? What should be done? That's the point. What solution? Solution is only coordination, engineering coordination I call it, levels, alignment of pipes, levels of alignment of manholes, all we have to study. It's not just I make a drawing and give it to you. No, it doesn't happen that way. Drawing making comes at later stage when you have complete information that all services around this manhole are clear. There's no mix-up. There's no problem in understanding, and if there exists some problem, then we have to check that. In comparison of various services, there is problem. And then, if there is some problem, we have to sit together with engineer or with whoever is responsible to solve that issue, maybe design engineer or maybe someone else. We have to resolve that contractor proposal. Maybe it is cost wise or no cost wise, that's a different issue. But solution has to reach if you find clashes. There's no way out of that. And if you don't do that, Well, I think it will be a mistake. If that service doesn't work, that means there's no meaning of that service. And generally responsibility in EPC contracting, because this depends on sites and everything cannot be brought to design office or to engineering about such problem. These are site related problem. So you have to do this on site as well. Site design team has to handle such issues. And site design team means generally engineering division on project. Engineering division takes care of this on mega project, and during this taking care, because they are generally professionals, they have to think everything, find proposals, solutions, and then either reject or approve. Sometimes there are various requirements per specification or by rules, by laws about site requirement, practical requirement within two services, difference of vertical distance, or between services, difference of vertical or horizontal difference. These would question. These requirements shall question you and you have to answer. If you can answer successfully, you will be successful. And if you cannot answer successfully, it's unsuccessful. When we say this project, which require hundreds of such manholes, there should be some way to construct these manholes. We cannot generalize construction because that is confusing. And everyone cannot be expected to coordinate details. So it was considered that time that that is so a simple, specific way to work out this manholes. But I said no, it will not work based on my experience. We cannot decide labels, uniform labels for many manholes. We cannot decide their benchmarks and dimension. It is better to do work on each manhole, and we have to see how does it fit in that system. You can say that was something considerable. Of course, considerable. I'm tired. I'm tired really. Sometimes what to do, can't sit without thinking. That's my weakness. You can't sit without, in fact, I can't compromise, you see. Why I'm telling you all this, I don't know. There's nothing to be told like that, but I'm telling, okay, it's all life. Sometimes, yeah, life has such, what to do. Sometimes you have such things in life. happens that way. Coordination is required, which is very important. One person should be given such charge, because if many people have to work on that, well, I think sometimes in technical work, many people cannot coordinate. They cannot concentrate, and concentration is very important. Without concentration, no coordination can be done. You have to realize this fact, and this is very much technical. You have to coordinates, layout, orientation. You have to coordinate invertables, and you have to coordinate invertables of manhole as well as invertable of pipes, incoming pipes and outgoing pipes, in relation to existing pipelines or pipelines that have to come in, as well as top of manholes in connection with landscape of area, or if top is fixed, which is generally not possible, it's fixed. It depends upon profile of that area, contour of that area, proposed profile. So it may be different as well, not necessary, but could be. So we have to keep these points in mind when we adopt coordination of our system, our pipework system. Sometimes it looks easy, but it is not that easy as we think. I experienced this well, because you have to devote something to yourself. You have to take some responsibility sometime, just to know something, just to experience something. It's not simply that we have to do a job. We have to do a job in a proper manner, in such a manner that looks professional, and it should be professional. It should perform. You cannot say after doing job that there is an error and we have to evaluate this error, we have to investigate it and then see who is responsible. But that plant will not wait for you. That plant has to operate. There is a date fixed for operation, and your simple work cannot stop it. It has to move. It may be utilities coordination, or it may be some other coordination. Every activity depends on surrounding activities, and plant as a unit has to operate, which your small error cannot stop. It can cost millions. Remember, therefore it's very important item. So rather than explaining this, I would like to say what was done on this item. Though it's very considerably manhole, if you ask someone, I have to consider, it's a very small item, it's nothing. We have constructed on a compressor basis, we have constructed those major heavy foundations. What's that? It's a very small foundation. You're worried about that. Just like some people used to say, oh, you're talking of nails were not available and you could not do farm work because nails were not. It's an excuse. But those guys didn't realize nails were not available sometimes in Libya. So it's really sometimes ridiculous to say that, because I'm telling all this based on my collection of experience from various nationalities around many countries. I just worked in Libya, in Iraq, in Saudi and Abu Dhabi, you can say in Qatar. Like that, you worked many places, you get many experiences from along nationalities and nations. you'll find different thinking level, different types of working standards, different types of, if you work in contracting, you'll find one approach. If you work in consultancy, you'll find different approach. Or if you can say, if you work in contracts, you will have one mind, while working in designs, another mind. Working in construction means everywhere you have to see how interests of people work. People generally think contractor means making money. You are working for a contractor company or you are working for a consultant. They say like this. You are not working for company, means they do not understand that consultancy is also a part of company. Without consultant's approval, your work cannot be accepted. But some people say you are paid by this company, you are paid by consultants. Some people who do not understand all these transactions, all these contract matters, all these engineering business, they only think that way, which is taught to them. Because some people say, oh, you are working for me, take care of work on my behalf, I want to finish the job. Some people say that to everyone, and which causes problem. Some people are used to work in that style because of culture of that nation. In our country, culture actually doesn't exist. We had some hierarchy system which never worked well, and we should care for everybody. We have some here, oh, this is labor, leave aside, this is a mason carpenter, I know, I do not talk to this man. And there are nations which give value to them. There's a difference. Means it's work that is respected, but in our country, work is not respected, position is respected. So we can't get that culture. That's called work culture. It's position culture which never works. You may be having, I'm just explaining, this is not related to that. You may be having high profile position, but you are disconnected with ground reality. You are not linked to that. The high profile will not work. But same time, if in your position there is someone who is not high profile but has some ground connection, that person can perform better because that person knows ground reality. But our system is polluted one, I can say. We talk to those people who have nothing to do with practical work, and they spoil everything just for their interest. All top wigs of top high-ups, they spoil all others who are at low levels, and result is that there is neither quality nor programmed quantification. That's the result. But on projects, it's different story. If you don't give quantity and quality, your performance is zero. You have to give quantity as well as quality in defined time, within defined budget. Only then you can be paid your amount, contract amount, and only then consultant can be paid fee, because consultant is also bound by services contract, as contractor and employer are bound by construction contract or EPC contract. Just I want to give a background how we fall into ditch. Actually speaking, really speaking, our country is, if dropped one into ditch, you can't come out of that ditch. And ditch has been caused by many factors. I do not name it, but I would say, as I return on this statement, that is for precast manholes, I return major project plants pertinent utility services all over such plant. In particular, on external areas, various services lines are laid which convey sewage, storm water, oily sewage, acid water, etc. All such services are very complicated and therefore very well coordinated by engineering unit on site. Hundreds of such manholes are required to be constructed on such project site, and of course all coordinates and invert levels of such manhole units are not same, but each unit has separate designations for whatever information required for construction. All manhole units are required to be studied from having clear viewpoint of all connections in and out of on every unit. There would be many engineering clashes on various units, which must all be resolved. Prior to its work, you can say which must be resolved prior to its work is started, or else unit work shall be erroneous. Many times input is provided by site engineering personnel regarding certain clashes meeting at site, which make work impossible even if precast unit has been produced, which error state must be corrected prior to finalizing that unit. Now, I've been fortunate in this regard. When I was in charge of all engineering coordination in one such mega project, whereat I worked on more than 400 such units from conception to end, based on standard design information provided on contract. I didn't agree on what other experts saw, but I took complete design and engineering responsibility onto self and worked out all working design drawings for precasting purpose, respecting each manhole unit. It was my added responsibility which I enjoyed and delivered all such drawings for approvals and then produced as-built drawings. The result was that such details resulted in a thick book containing drawings, and I did not seek any services of any draftsman because it was not convenient for me, as I could do faster on my own because thinking was also required sometimes while doing your drawing. That's a very important point. Problem actually is all time can't depend on your draftsman. See, for such a complicated work which requires thinking at every step, and you have to think while drawing, while composing drawing, if you have to think and check, well, I think you can't give final sketch to draftsperson, and that person will come again and again with new printouts, check it and finalize it. And maybe the draftsman brings it in 24 hours or 48 hours depending on workload, because he is not alone for this drawing. He may be having many more works with him at same time. So I was in different approach. I said, okay, let me try myself. After all, this is engineering job, this is a drawing. There's no question of low profile or high profile, because I have to think. And not only to think, but also to coordinate many times for same manhole, because sometimes it was also not clear how which drawing was superseded and which was issued for construction, and I had to contact the document control section also many times. Are you confirming that this is update drawing or where is seal? Because if it's superseded by chance, then there was no meaning in coordinating with that drawing. So it was little, you can say, tedious job from coordination viewpoint. So I had to move myself on, and of course I find many such errors on drawings itself and raise queries. Also some site engineers brought to me some queries for official or some confusion, so that this can be resolved, or we could resolve myself with them and we could resolve it. Otherwise we could raise queries for them, queries for purpose of designer to approve. That's why it was a long process of many months, but it was continuous. Wherever everything was clear, it was given to site, okay, you carry on with this. Of course, after approvals from designers, indeed, we prepared drawings and finalized drawings in terms of, we put cover on that, approval cover, this is our drawing, and that drawing was sent to designer, site designer, I mean our other designer who was not for us, controller of that project, and then after getting approved, it was distributed to site for implementation, for carrying out. It usually was a few percentages, maybe 2 or 3 percentages which were in error, or where some information either was proposed or was required due to various clashes, or some information had been missing which only that person who was responsible could provide. So that's the background I'm giving to you. This is drawing which I showed to you, only very nominal. This is very, very small part of that drawing. There are so many here. I'll show you all one day when I have time, because PDF takes time. I'll show you maybe on AutoCAD, but problem is live. If you want to use AutoCAD, you have to show AutoCAD all time. So that's where I think we feel quality problem in this. I can't continue. I have to continue with one format only, and that format is this. So let's say then requirements for such voluminous works, I'm going to that. What's the requirement of this? What's voluminous work we have to do in this? That's also an important point. Now, preparation of one considerable size casting yard, that's where you have to precast. It should be some convenient place. Means you have to temporarily organize that part for purpose of your working all these items: form work, steel fixing, pouring, curing, circulation of traffic. I mean to say, trailers should come in and go out, or whatever your transportation means for carrying out these to various locations on site. That area must be accessible. All design was done. See, the circulation yard was prepared on papers, and then it was approved and given to site guys. Of course, it was contribution by site, best way they wanted, by their own approvals, by their own agreements. Then they have to start. Means there must be access of transit mixer, though concrete pump is not required, but if case it is required, there should be way. Transit mixer should come there, then trailer should come there, train should come there, all that. You have to see where you'll keep fabricated units or completed units. Where shall you do your form work, current form work, and once where you do steel fabrication. So new areas means you cannot wait for 1 year or 6 months after fabrication. These units must reach site in sequence so that your yard is not occupied by old or by cast items. There's no meaning. Work must go on and on. So say 40, 400, 400s, you have units. If you cast 8, means you need 50 days for that minimum. Or for 50 days you can't put them there. Means once first batch is over, you have to cure it. Then you have to see strength is achieved, and after that you have send it to site. Site must be ready, and if site is not ready, then you have to keep them on site. Again, double handling. So there are so many ways in planning, also how to consider that. But yard should be free. There should be continuous production. These manholes, or else your production will stop. It will impact on your schedule. So what it says, preparation of one considerable size casting yard equipped with all such facilities meant for formwork production, fabrication of reinforcing steel bars, supporting all formworks and concrete pouring, with curing arrangement in addition to facility area for loading precast units onto trailer for transportation to site location. Studying all drawings related to each manhole unit from various interconnecting drawings, ensuring size of unit and final applicable coordinates. All clashes coming on way to such unit from various other units must be resolved, and if final approval is required, must be obtained formally in terms of clarification or making some other proposal per site conditions. Sketches required are as follows for each unit: plan drawing showing all incoming and outgoing pipes, position of manhole cover, elevations of all 4 sides internally and in direction north, south, east, west. If no pipe is indicated in either valve, it must be left blank. Square blockouts openings to be indicated on all such elevations or otherwise, complying with minimum requirement, for example, vertical distance of blockout from inward level. Then it says these openings would be grouted on site once manhole unit is installed and pipes connected. Each such drawings with all confirmed working sections and plans for each unit are issued to site engineer for working on precasting. Precasting of each unit base slab and 4 walls shall be done monolithically in case no inconvenience exists. During casting, some pauses may be applicable. To an extent, cold joints are avoided. Base and walls monolithic casting of utmost significance because all blockouts are located within walls, which condition requires that all spaces within formwork must be concreted without causing any void or honeycombing. Manhole cover slab is worked separately and covers are also worked upon separately. Covers are also worked upon separately. Wherever, depending on depth, cat steps, or you may call steps, are required to be fixed in, could be fixed later by chemical anchoring or drilling and grouting application. Site shall be made ready to receive and install such unit at every location of respective unit. Excavation shall be completed to specified level. I am talking of site. Site shall be made ready to receive and install such unit at every location of respective unit. Excavation shall be completed to specified level. Compaction shall be completed to produce a good even formation. Good even formation, this compaction, purpose of which is even formation. Blinding shall be laid to specification requirement. Concrete protection shall be applied per design details and its protection layer produced. Marking shall be done to receive precast unit. Marking on blinding, mean to say within which your manhole or unit shall be placed. Marking shall be done to receive precast unit, and you have to make sure also that it should be completely leveled. That's important. If it's not leveled, you have to make it leveled. That's also required by grinding or whatever means. It's not written here, but must be. Once unit is completed and ready for transport to site location, after when all related activities are over and period of 28 days completed, depending on site requirements, precast unit transported using trailer means or offloaded onto site location. Once received and downloaded to exact marked location and placed onto required levels, permanent position shall be achieved so that unit remains stable without caused by any disturbance. All incoming and outgoing pipes shall be positioned according to designs and details, followed by making arrangements for grouting to a standard that makes blockouts completely filled and remains watertight. I repeat, all incoming and outgoing pipes shall be positioned according to designs and details, followed by making arrangements for grouting to a standard that makes blockouts completely filled and remains watertight. All areas shall be cleaned and all pipes covered. All areas shall be cleaned and all pipes covered once grouting is over and water tightness test conducted. If required, repair shall be applied to leaking locations. External concrete protection and its further protection or cover shall be carried out once approved all foregoing activities. Backfill activities shall be carried out in layer. Once approved all foregoing activities, backfill activities shall be carried out in layer. Sorry. Steps, if detailed, shall be drilled and chemically grouted. If detailed out, benching could also be carried out if required, not necessary. Manhole top slab work shall be carried out per details. Precast manhole cover shall be placed on its designed opening. This is a very brief written statement. It's not detailed one, but it's enough to understand, because it depends upon when I think, how I do, and it is not explanatory all times. That's also important point, we can say. So I have discussed repeatedly light pole foundation and manholes organization precasting way, and I like to close this sketch of light pole. There's no meaning else done, and I also close this method statement of manhole cover. You see it on the screen, and it's also going to close here. Now quality file is there. I'm going to do something different, and that is here, very important one, very important one, and that's here. I can say this is a file from Abu Dhabi precast.com. hollow core slabs. Just written on this hollow core slab. It's that hollow. You know what is hollow? Core is a pre-stressed concrete slab manufactured with continuous voids to reduce weight and cost. It's primarily used as a floor and roof deck system, deck it is. Hollow core flooring systems provide safe, solid and secure flooring for your needs. This unique product is both strong and durable, allowing for increased floor load capacity, and enables high spans with lower thicknesses, thereby substantially increasing clear height of rooms. Hollow core slabs are naturally fire resistant, offering 2+ hours fire ratings with no additional fireproofing needed, resulting in lower construction and insurance costs. They are sound resistant, providing STC rating of 50 or more, being very economical and providing unlimited design flexibility, makes it possible for hollow core to work with unusual building shapes and cantilevers. Hollow core plank is compatible with steel, wood, masonry and other precast products. Hollow core is manufactured indoors while site is being prepared. Installation begins as soon as site is ready. Hollow core can be erected in very high quantities due to its ease of handling, allowing for an extremely fast floor system. You can see this sketch or this photo. You can see this photo. Whole yard is here. Some close pictures without pictures here. And these are of course much developed now. It was not developed that much before. It's better developed, it's okay, much advanced. So what I said in this, when I say checklist for checklist for fast track building construction with RCC cast in situ, foundation, RCC cast in situ columns, RCC cast in situ beams with precast, pre-stressed hollow concrete slab units. Hollow concrete slabs are HCS units. This is what we are talking about. This is URL of this material site, Abu Dhabi precast.com. I just referred it because it's available online. Now HCS units definition and merits. It is also given by this site. I'm just using that. As I stressed just now, hollow core is pre-stressed concrete slab manufactured with continuous voids to reduce weight. I also given that just now, so there is no meaning to repeat that. Now what I am stating here is that what it says, though it's not new, method of designs and construction, yet it must be given a relook. Indeed, such methods of constructions are applied onto fast track construction, where simple activities, elements such as foundation, beams and columns are constructed using conventional cast in situ technology, whereas time consuming major components such as suspended slabs are avoided to be delivered by cast in situ method. Advantage to use this execution method is that site remains adequately tidy and all problems of erection of slabs supporting safe supporting system for weeks being eliminated due to fact that hollow core slabs units act as permanent forms for slab. Only elements like columns and suspended beams are cast in sight. Beam soffits, supports, forms shall be allowed to stay for defined requirements only. Components are defined as follows. It is defined as follows. Foundation per designs, you have designed it to do that. All works up to basement of plinth or grade level, stub columns and retaining walls, or else beams, framing if so designed. Columns in each floor cast in situ. Beams at every floor level cast in situ. Hollow core slabs placed on beams. Construction of diaphragm slab on hollow core slab. Treatment of peripheral structural trimmings. Now, in execution, this execution method comprises of following components. This is very important. Complete surveying whole plot or land and setting out all sites, coordinates and vertical controls run from formal GPS, geopositioning system. Arrangement of dewatering in case such activity is included. Arrangement of dewatering in case such activity is included for soil investigation report if it is required. Excavation of relevant areas of foundation for design details and ensuring soil capacity if no piling is required. In case piling is required, carrying out piling component. If raft or mat is in designs, working out that activity. Generally, for multi-story structures in strong soils, raft foundation may do or beam framing may be conducted if soil is too strong. All activities of foundations such as soil improvement, if so required, blinding concrete protection to foundation surfaces in contact with soil, retaining walls and all other elements or components up to grade slab or basement slab level are completed, including all horizontal and vertical waterproofing and backfills in layered sequence. In parallel, in factory or yard, well suited for precasting of hollow core slabs units, HCS, all activities related to designs, HCS productions must be ongoing in line to site schedule. All scaffolding activities and working platforms shall be taken up for safe working conditions. On-site works of RCC columns must go on for whole floor in one story in compliance to various quality checks included on past statements. On-site work of RCC beams must go on for whole floor in one story in compliance to various quality checks included on past statements. Designs of RCC beams must meet requirements as required by precast details. Purpose of these columns and beams being that HCS shall directly rest on these beams which are laid to meet HCS requirements. Curing and all other repairs must be complied with. Other statements, description if necessary. Approvals of all cost in situ activities in So we can say approval of all cost and activities for furthering placing HCS units, and you can say approval of HCS units in factory or yard for furthering transportation, and if some repair applied, curing all other repairs must be complied with. Other statements, all right. Steam curing shall be permissible for production of HCS to save time. This system of curing is also called autoclaving. Transportation of HCS units to site along with all the loading and offloading arrangements. Capacity of hoisting unit must be ascertained to suit working requirements. which may vary for each and every HCS unit, covering all areas under construction. If tower crane of reliable tip capacity is available, may be used keeping in view safety requirements. Now, high capacity high capacity mobile crane to cover complete horizontal and vertical of range of all HCS units would be required for raising and placing each and every unit. All bearings of RCC beams shall be cleaned, prepared, and if required ground for leveling purpose to suit bearing and HCS grip. One intermediate beams shall carry two HCS for interlocking purpose. It may be further better if two-way HCS be installed depending on designs. All end trimming effects shall be prepared per structural designs to ascertain that diaphragm action could be achieved among cast in situ beams. Activities to prepare all items of cast in situ diaphragm slab shall be carried out. It's very important. Let me see. All end trimming effects shall be prepared for structural designs to ascertain that diaphragm action could be achieved among cast in situ beams. HCS units of cast in situ diaphragm, cast in situ concrete, which of course shall be thinner than usual or conventional cast in situ slabs. It may be 60 to 100 mm depending on requirements, in case some inserts may be added. Activities to prepare all items of cast in situ diaphragm slab shall be carried out. Inspections shall be conducted for combination of all combined items or components to make sure that no movement is done and stability and integration are affected. Pouring concrete shall be done on placed HCS and reinforcement as if HCS acting as permanent forms. On successful completion of this combination of three sub-components of slab item, it would act similarly as if it had been constructed by conventional cast in situ method. On successful completion of this combination of three subcomponents of slab item, it would act similarly as if it has been constructed by conventional cast in situ method. On-site columns, on-situ columns and beams for next floor shall be similarly carried out. For this floor, all internal as well as temporary arrangements shall be produced from working viewpoints, keeping safety intact. Activities of RCC columns and beams shall be repeated for designs and all procedures applied. Production and approvals of HCS units in factory shall be conducted for requirement meeting site schedule, using autoclaving if acceptable to save time. Repeat transportation of HCS units and direct placement on new floor, repeating all procedures as were carried out on lower floor. Then repeat for every new floor all such procedures per design requirements. This was brief on your precasting of this slab. Well, I think we have advanced well. I can show you this also again. This is material. I am not ready with the sketch of this yet. I wanted to make one sketch showing all these units placed on beams, but I have not done that yet. But I'll try to do that later, because that sketch is not ready with me. I will make it again. I'll make it. Though you are clear that you have to construct beams and columns only as far as site is concerned, cast in situ technology is concerned. You have to produce beams and columns and beams framing, and all. Then you have to keep these HCL hollow core slabs on beams. How you design that so that structure will work as monolithic. So this is very important method. Your material can say it's not, maybe many of you have experienced that. I I dealt with this material as far as quotations were concerned, because I had to include this in some bid. And I studied that method statement, but they try to say, those experts of this manufacturing company, and I had to undergo that, how they do it. And it's well done in that case, but we did not get job. But getting job is different aspect. Question is what was our attempt towards this. That is important part of, and only that you can see here also. I think on today's assignment, I'm a little tired. I think you got me. It's at random sometimes. I give, for example, this quality talk. This all covers what I said. All these factors come into this file, and that is important. Means if we establish quality in our culture, in our working, really speaking, we shall be different world. So I'll close these files now. I'll take care of them later on because already 2 minutes passed. That will be 1 minute more. Meanwhile, you can go. These are being left transported over. We are handling cranes here. You can see this. Trucks are in yard, big yard here. I just browsing it for you so that you can know a little better. It's a big factory. I think it's time